There's a company in Shanghai making jet fuel out of air and water. Not a concept, not a prototype. A real facility, open since January 2026, producing liquid fuel from the sky above it. That company is Carbonology. Co-founded by a former Tesla executive, launched in 2024, and now operating a 100-ton production line inside the Shanghai Lingang District R&D Center. Here's how it works, and it's simpler than you'd expect. Direct air capture pulls CO2 straight from the atmosphere. Solar-powered electrolysis splits water into hydrogen and oxygen. Combine that CO2 with the hydrogen, and out comes liquid fuel. Same molecules, same chemistry as jet fuel pumped from the ground, except there's no drilling, no refining chain, and no oil tankers crossing oceans to deliver it. They produced their first barrel in 2025. The next milestone is a 1,000-ton pilot plant later this year, followed by 5,000 tons in Ningxia, and a full commercial 100,000-ton facility targeted for 2027. Backed by Sequoia China and the Yellow River Delta investment fund Real Money, behind a real facility making real fuel. And here's the smart business move. The EU has mandated that airlines begin using sustainable aviation fuel, starting at 2%, scaling all the way to 70% by 2050. Carbonology has guaranteed buyers whether their fuel is cheaper than oil or not. The legislation creates the market. The technology fills it. Storing the sun but fuel is only part of the equation. What happens when the sun goes down? In the Gobi Desert, China has built the world's largest liquid air energy storage facility, 60 megawatts of stored power sitting in cryogenic tanks. Here's the concept. During the day, excess electricity from a nearby 250 megawatt solar farm is used to freeze air down to minus 194 degrees Celsius. Air becomes liquid. That liquid gets stored in tanks. When demand spikes or the sun sets, the liquid air is warmed back up using recovered compression heat. It expands 700 times its volume, spins a turbine, and power comes out. 10 straight hours of storage, more than double what lithium battery farms can deliver. The facility generates 180 gigawatt hours every year, powering cities from the middle of a desert. No lithium, no cobalt, no rare earth minerals, just off-the-shelf industrial components and physics. Built by China Green Development Investment Group in collaboration with the Chinese Academy of Sciences, this facility has been operational since late 2025. When people ask what clean energy storage looks like at scale, this is the answer. Teaching a machine to photosynthesize now, let's go small. All the way down to the molecular level. Plants have had 1 billion years to perfect photosynthesis. The Chinese Academy of Sciences just built something that works differently, and in some ways better. They engineered an inorganic charge reservoir using tungsten oxide and silver. It stores solar energy and releases it on demand, using only water as an electron source. Then they coupled this system with 2 specially engineered bacteria. The first converts CO2 into formate. The second converts formate into succinic acid, a 4-carbon molecule. That last part is the breakthrough. Previous artificial photosynthesis systems could only produce C1 or C2 molecules, methanol, ethanol, short chains. Getting to 4 carbons requires carbon-to-carbon bonding. That's the hard part of chemistry that nature spent millions of years solving. These researchers just demonstrated it in a lab, published in the Journal of the American Chemical Society. It's still lab scale. It's not going in your fuel tank tomorrow. But the principle is now proven. You can manufacture carbon chains from CO2, water, and sunlight alone. No farmland, no growing season, just a membrane, some engineered bacteria, and light. Fertilizer without the fossil fuels now, back to industrial scale, and one of the most quietly revolutionary facilities on this list. In Yulin, Shaanxi Province, the National Energy Group is running a 100-ton solar ammonia plant. To understand why this matters, you need to know about the Haber-Bosch process. It's the industrial method that makes ammonia, and by extension, the fertilizer that feeds roughly half the world's population. It has been running for over a century. It also consumes 2% of all global energy and produces 1.6% of all global CO2 emissions. This plant does none of that. Low-temperature plasma activates nitrogen directly from the air at room temperature. Solar panels supply the electricity. Water provides the hydrogen. No natural gas. No high-pressure reactors. No 400-degree heat. The system has now run continuously for over 1,200 hours, 50 straight days, at over 90% efficiency, using entirely domestically manufactured components. Ammonia isn't just fertilizer. It's a hydrogen carrier for fuel cells and a zero-carbon fuel for cargo ships. One plant, 3 potential revolutions. When the giant switch sides hears a signal that cuts through all the noise. When established fossil fuel companies start converting their own infrastructure, not defending it, the transition is already happening. Sinopec, China's largest refiner with over $1 trillion in annual revenue, watched their profits drop 37% in 2025 as new energy ate into their margins. Their response was not to fight it. They are now spending $789 million to convert a 600,000-ton gasoline and diesel unit into a 200,000-ton sustainable aviation fuel plant. They're calling these refineries of the future facilities that can flex between petrochemicals and renewable fuels based on market conditions. This is not a startup making a bet. This is a state-owned industrial giant with construction crews already on the ground. When incumbents retool instead of resist, the direction of travel is no longer a debate. The strategic picture step back and look at why China is moving so aggressively on all of this. China imports over 70% of its oil. Most of it passes through the Strait of Malacca, a single choke point between Indonesia and Malaysia. One blockade, one geopolitical disruption, and the economy slows. That vulnerability has defined Chinese energy strategy for decades. These technologies erase it. Air, water, and sunlight are not imported. A factory in Sichuan, making jet fuel from the atmosphere, answers to no foreign supplier. A solar farm in the Gobi charging a liquid air battery that powers a city doesn't flow through any strait. An ammonia plant in Shanxi making fertilizer without a single barrel of imported oil is energy independence in the most literal sense. The question of global energy power is shifting from who controls the oil reserves to who controls the machines that manufacture fuel from nothing. The fuel behind the fuel. Every breakthrough described above depends on one thing: clean hydrogen. Carbonology needs it for jet fuel synthesis. The ammonia plant needs it for fertilizer. Without green hydrogen, none of these systems function at scale. China is now the world's largest hydrogen producer. Over the past 5 years, renewable hydrogen capacity has grown from 23,000 tons to 250,000 tons per year, a 10-fold increase. In January 2026, a 1.5 gigawatt offshore wind farm in Guangdong province was directly connected to electrolyzers, set to produce 80,000 tons of green hydrogen annually. Total investment, $110 billion. The government has now written hydrogen into national energy law, same legal status as oil and gas. The target is to bring hydrogen costs below $25 per kilogram by 2030. China already manufactures 65% of the world's electrolyzers, the machines that split water into hydrogen using electricity. They own the supply chain for the fuel behind the fuel. What this actually means, let's be clear about what is operating right now in 2026. Shanghai jet fuel made from air and water. The Gobi Desert, the world's largest liquid air battery. Beijing artificial photosynthesis producing 4 carbon molecules, peer-reviewed and published. Shanxi, a solar ammonia plant running 50 consecutive days. Shenzhen engineered bacteria manufacturing industrial chemicals from CO2 and light. And China's biggest refiner converting its own assets to produce renewable fuel. These are not promises or projections. These are operating facilities and peer-reviewed science from the last 18 months. The age of geological fuel digging up ancient sunlight stored underground over millions of years is ending. The age of manufactured fuel making energy from air, water, and sunlight on demand has begun. Over 1 billion gallons of new renewable fuel capacity is coming online in China this year alone. The question was never whether this works. The question is how fast it scales. Right now, the answer is very fast.